Hello, ladies and gentlemen, that is Episode 101 here, and welcome to another video on the channel. So, the Stories of Sodor. If you like Thomas, like I do, you probably know that fan-made series, of course, made by Victor Danzig. It is one of the best series, one of the best fan-made Thomas series out there. So, if you haven't watched it, please go check it out. It's amazing. And it is on its 5th season now, and season 5 is about to end, actually in 2 days time, I believe. So, because in Friday the final episode of season 5 is coming out, which is Fallout. So today I am gonna give out my predictions on what I think is gonna happen in the final episode of season 5, how it will end out. So, if you like this video, please give a like, and yeah, let's get right into it. And of course, check out Victor Danzig. His channel link is in the description. So first of all, I just want to get this out of the way in my predictions, and that is that I refuse to believe that Thomas, the tank engine, is dying. I just want to get this out of the way first before we go to the whole meat of this this predictions theory thing that I'm doing is very rough and ready. But yeah, I refuse to believe Thomas is dying. Like, how can you kill the main character of the show? Not to mention this isn't the final. I'm hoping at least that this isn't the final episode of the Stories of Sodor ever. Like, that would be such a depressing way to end the series, but I don't think it will. But yeah, Thomas is not dying, okay? Thomas is just probably unconscious or just in a coma, but he's not actually dead. If I had to get a reason why, because he literally was next to a smoking tanker that was on fire, then I had to assume the lucky lamp helped him survive that explosion or something, because that's the only logical way in the Stories of Sodor universe of how Thomas survived. So he almost gets blown up, but not completely. He's just in a very, very shabby state. And if that does happen, he will most definitely be out of service for months, or maybe even years, by just thinking of how he ended in the last episode. So yeah, potentially another reason why that maybe wasn't Thomas, but that prediction's a bit too I'd rather stick with the first one I mentioned. But now let's get into the actual focus, which is who is causing all of this. And I believe, like some people do as well, but I believe that Robert Hall is not the culprit of this disaster that's happening. I think it's Sean Hall, his brother. And here's why. I'll give on the reasons. In the episode Rescued, it was alluded to that Rob could be one of the sons, or rather the nephews, of Gregory Hall, a porter that got sacked for gross incompetence back in the days of the LNER. It was also said that he was allowed to adopt his nephews due to their parents' death, and that Gregory could be the brother-in-law of a guard that used to work for the LMS. Something that in the episode Revenge, it was basically confirmed that Rob's dad was Michael Grady, the guard who died in the episode Sabotage in season 2, where Henry had his famous flying kipper accent. In the episode Revenge, we also see flashbacks of Mr. Sorrow telling Rob's mother about his father's death. We hear Rob say that Sean was held back at school for starting another fight, which makes me think he's a troublesome and violent type of guy. In this most recent episode, Munitions, when Terrence reveals that the autopsy revealed that a World War I service revolver was used to murder Mr. Sorrow. Rob hears him and said that his father had a World War I service revolver when he fought in the First World War, but it went missing after his death, which could mean Sean stole it to take revenge, if you get what I mean. Adding to the fact that after their mother committed suicide, they went to live with her, complete and utter wreck of an alcoholic uncle. Like, seriously, how did the council council let um, um, Gregory take care of his nephews, being an alcohol wreck. Who knows? But yeah, that's the justice sometimes. But yeah, that would make Sean to want revenge against the OMS and Henry, because after all, they quote unquote caused all of this. As it was Donald's dream where their father was, and Henry was basically the one who killed him. And of course, Mr. Soros' deplorable way to give their family, in massive quotes, compensation, which in the end basically cost their mother's life, because of them going bankrupt, and yeah, which I also like to believe Sean wanted to get Robert involved in his scheme to take revenge on DOMS and Henry. But Robert refused, as by that time, well, I would be assuming that by that time he maybe had a found connection with the locomotives / engines, as it is said that he took part in the build of many of BR's most successful locomotives in the first episode. Vandalism, yeah. Not to mention, if Robert was on the scheme on trying to take revenge, then why did he help Henry survive his nearly fatal accident? Surely if he wanted revenge, he would specifically want to kill Henry, as he was one of the quote-unquote culprits of his dad's death. If he wanted Henry dead, then he most likely would have said something along the lines of, well, there's nothing we can do about him, or something like that, instead of suggesting to repair him with parts of old scrap engines, which made him survive. I have a feeling Sean will try to pull the guilt onto Rob for not wanting to take part in his scheme, so then he can also get away with all of this without anyone thinking he did anything. As I do suspect their family relationships is god awful, because again, they had their alcoholic uncle take care of them. So yeah. Meanwhile, for my predictions for Fallout, the final episode, I think we are not done with the characters' deaths, unfortunately. Even though I thought it would be munitions, I still think here is where Mickey gets sent off. Maybe it will happen in the scene where we see Donald almost dead at the end of the trailer. Maybe he will sacrifice himself to prevent Donald's death or something. Now, how would that exactly happen? To be honest, no idea. It's just something I think could happen in this episode. Remember, this is a very rough and ready video. Apart from Mickey, there's also another who I think will bite the dust in this final, and I think it will either be Sheffield or Peckett. Why? Well, for one, at the end of the trailer, we can see Edward passing by some scrap engines, one of whom has a similar same shape to Sheffield, and somewhat similar to Peckett. That's the same reason I still think Mickey will die in this final episode, because we also see a scrap engine the same shape as him in the background, and it obviously cannot be Edward because, you know, he's telling the story. And before you go on about it, yes, I know Sheffield and Peckett are not the same class of engines. One is an austerity and the other one is, well, a Peckett locomotive. But even so, I still think it could be either of them bite the dust. And the scrap engine obviously cannot be Samantha, as we see her at the end of the trailer completely fine, so she is immediately disregarded for this. Now, for why I see either of them being the one who could die alongside Mickey in this final episode, well, in Sheffield's case, if you think about it, it seems like some of the previous seasons' quote-unquote antagonists, because I don't know how else to put it, are dying in this season. Like, think about it. In season 1, you had the sabotage master that was Jeffrey. In season 2, you had the pretentious kid of Benson. In season 3, you had Peter becoming a war criminal. And in season 4, we learned about Sheffield's reckless action that ended with someone's wife. And you know something that the first 3 all have in common? They all died in this season. Which leads me to believe that Sheffield will maybe die / sacrifice himself in the event of the massive fallout that occurs. In Peckett's case, it's more speculation than anything, to be honest, which, to be fair, this entire video is just speculation. But if you think about it, Peckett is probably one of, if not the most unused and probably forgettable character in the Stories of Sodor, since there really isn't much you can do with him, since there are so many tank engines in the Stories of Sodor at this point, and most of them are better characters than Packet, unfortunately. So it wouldn't surprise me if Victor kills him off in this Fallout, because again, there isn't much you can do with him. Which is why at the end we see the engines all in one area in such a depressing nature, because they're giving their farewell to Mickey and Sheffield / Packet for their brave actions that probably saved many lives. And maybe Peter will be in the farewell too, as he is murdered not that long ago, and maybe he could be part of it. But yeah, but who knows really? I guess time will tell. This again is just a predictions video. For all I know, everything I said could be wrong, but that's the fun part about predictions. You never know anything, but if you get it right, you look like a genius. And that is it for this video. I hope you guys like this different style video, which is just me giving predictions. This video was inspired by oh god, what is his name? I think is Stan, something like that. He made a lot of predictions about the Stories of Sodor 2, so I'll leave a link to his channel as well in the description. And without further ado, I'll see you guys next time for another video, and goodbye.